Hi, I'm Brian Russell. I'll be your instructor this semester in OT710 Exegesis of the Pentateuch. I'm really excited about this class. My doctoral work was done in the Pentateuch and Exodus. I have a real love for the book of Deuteronomy, and as you can see from the syllabus, we're going to be focusing heavily in the book of Deuteronomy this summer and try to acquire some advanced exegetical skills, particularly in the application of the Hebrew language to the exegetical enterprise. Now, the way this class works, this is a hybrid class. So we're going to have 3 days of class in Orlando in a few weeks. So make sure you've got the dates in the syllabus, that you know when you're going to be here. And we'll work heavily those 3 days reading. So be prepared to sight read and talk about the grammar in Deuteronomy's chapter 5, 6, and 7. I'm not sure. It depends how fast we can read, how far we'll get. You try to read as far as you can from 5 to 11 and be ready to do that when we get to class. Now, Deuteronomy is a fantastic book. It's critical for a theology of the Pentateuch and also the entire Old Testament. As you may know, Deuteronomy has long arms, and so you'll have quotations in the influence of Deuteronomy in the Deuteronomistic history, Joshua through 2 Kings, and we'll talk some about that during this course. It has influence on the book of Psalms, in the prophets, especially the prophet Jeremiah, for example. So Deuteronomy has long arms, heavy influence. It's really the bridge from the Pentateuch into the rest of the Old Testament. And it gives us a real sense of what does it mean to be faithful as God's missional people in the world. It talks about covenant. It fleshes out the great command to love God. And then we also see in its laws the command to love neighbor. Now, in advance of our time together, I'll be posting video material each week. In advance, in particular, we're going to be working on textual criticism, gaining some skills and facility in that. Also skills in grammatical analysis using the Arnold Choi book. That isn't a required text, but I'm assuming you already have it from your OT 501, 502. So do make sure that you get the Arnold Choi book, A Guide to Biblical Hebrew Syntax. If you haven't had me, I know that most of you have studied out of the Cook-Homestead Hebrew book. And so when you start working with Arnold Choi, there's going to be some disconnect between the vocabulary. I will help to facilitate sort of a seamless transition between those texts. Now, the other books that you'll be looking at are Deuteronomy and the Death of Moses by Dennis Olson. 2 commentaries, Walter Brueggemann's Deuteronomy and Daniel Block's Deuteronomy, and then a book on textual criticism, Paul Wegner, A Student's Guide to Textual Criticism of the Bible. Now, that book covers both Old Testament and New Testament text criticism. It's a very useful resource, but we'll just be reading the sections on Old Testament text criticism. And I'll be providing some examples in advance of class on how to do text criticism and to work out a methodology. And in class, again, we'll be working on Deuteronomy 5, 6, and 7, observing the grammar, the syntax through the Arnold Choi book, and also looking at text criticism. Now, make sure you're checking in each week for new videos. I'll have all the reading assignments laid out for you during the syllabus, but also lay them out clearly for you online. And then after our class, we'll have some post-class work. We have 2 short exegetical papers. You have a choice over 5 weeks of doing papers on 2 passages, and then we'll have a final exegetical project at the end of the semester. Now, the week that we have our class, the reading is due. Some of the reading's due earlier, so check the syllabus, check the dates. The reading will be due. We're going to have a Hebrew vocabulary quiz. You know, one of the key ways to learning Hebrew is just reading Hebrew. And so and one of the key ways of facilitating the ease of reading Hebrew is learning vocabulary. So there will be a vocab quiz on the vocabulary from the Cook-Homestead book. So begin to review that. A book survey on Deuteronomy, that's an inductive Bible study style survey, will be due on the 26th, on the first day of class. And again, the final project's due at the end of the term. Now, as a bonus, I'm going to have a weekly Hebrew reading group. That's open to people beyond this class, but I will let you know when we're going to do that. So if you'd just like to practice reading Hebrew, we'll read some portions of Deuteronomy that we won't be covering in class there for practice. And I also will make myself available using Zoom technology. We'll do the Hebrew reading group with that, but I also will make myself available at other times if you want to jump into a live session where we can talk about the class. Those will be optional, but I do make myself available for consultation to ask questions so that you can get as much out of this course as you would like to. So with that, again, I'm Brian Russell. It's absolutely my privilege to serve you this term. Look forward to getting to know each one of you, and I will see you in Orlando in a few weeks, and I will see you online as soon as you decide to keep clicking into more material. So let me know if I can help you. God bless you, and again, can't wait to the great things that we're going to experience. Can't wait for the great things that we're going to experience this summer. This summer together.